world should blow, baby, love will be gone. Hi. Hello, everybody. You've reached the channel Lasha Royenko. I just wanted to, prior to beginning my opinion piece, which I have very, very strong conviction in reference to Jordan Peterson and the lack of transparency that him and his daughter bestowed upon all of us unwitting listeners. And for anybody that watched this video, it was from 4 years ago, and it's Jordan Peterson and his daughter talking about Jordan Peterson coming off of benzodiazepines. Now, I have spent hours not only researching researching the subject of benzodiazepine, because I had some questions. My first question was, like, who is Jordan Peterson? He kind of came out of nowhere, out of the gateway into the States. The first time I ever heard him, I think, was Diary of a CEO. Perhaps it was Piers Morgan. I don't recall the first time, but I was so thoroughly impressed by him as a role model. And I know that he is definitely a male role model. You know, he talks about the regulars, about making your bed, which is just basically about having order in your house. When you have order in your house, it doesn't take a psychologist to let us know that it helps organize our lives. Yeah, if anybody needed organization, I think we could all vouch for times we needed help. At any rate, I do not believe what him and his daughter said. I believe that he went through all of it. I believe the timeline, maybe. I do believe he suffered immensely when he said he would rather be whipped, but it would depend on the whip. To me, that was prejudice. Or do I have the woke mind virus? And also, not only have I studied this, I worked in a pharmacy. I have my PSW certificate all the way back to the years where when we were allowed to dispense medication. People not being able to dispense medication in a hospital or during home care just speaks to the state of drug unrest. Even in the healthcare field, they don't even trust PSWs who take an oath that have no criminal background. Well, the reason that the authorities over PSWs probably don't trust PSWs or anybody lower than a PSW. How low can you go? You can't go lower than me. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm not a doctor or a surgeon. What do I know? Well, after 20 years of counseling and dealing with eating disorders, after 7 years of working 2 jobs, including home care, to take care of my mother while I owned a house at 21, that was kind of unheard of back when I was 24 years old. And we purchased it when I was 21. I didn't want to do it. Mind you, I really wish we still had it, but we don't. Yeah, Jordan Peterson dropped the ball. Okay, I've researched things like who is Jordan Peterson, his rise to fame, the sulfites from the fish that he ate and the apple cider that he ate that gave him, oh, I'll go to the interview to get the word. And I'm going to show different clips of this video and I'll tell you where I debunk it. I also, really took a deep dive into where did barbiturates and benzodiazepines originate from? What do they study at the Polytech University College in Alberta? I wrote everything down and I'm going to go through everything. Prior to that, I just want to make moderation helps feel everybody be safe. Well, I know that nobody's coming live to watch this right now. However, if you decide to subscribe to this channel, I implore you, please subscribe to the channel above called High Voltage. That's where most of the activity is, as far as people who have decided to subscribe, people who comment, and people who like, people who dislike and leave comments, passerbys, everybody is welcome. And you just have to type in Lasha Rajenko on YouTube. You'll hit this channel. And on the community page, it will lead you directly to High Voltage, where you will also find this video downloaded. And Trevor, the manager of the channel, I am going to ask him very politely if he wouldn't mind, sorry, my bangs are bugging me. If he wouldn't mind, if you wouldn't mind editing this video. So Jordan Peterson and his petulant child behavior. Michaela, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry enough not to do this video, so I guess I am not sorry in the least. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who has personal experience going through hell, and now they're trying to take Jordan Peterson's license away. All right. So these were some of the questions I had. Well, let's first go to the video. Ready? Jordan Peterson speaking to his daughter Michaela about benzodiazepine withdrawals. Well, there's a 14-minute one, a 31-minute one.
Right. And I went.
Sorry, Jordan. Is there a way that I could just read the transcript? Isn't there a way you can read the transcript? Transcript. Okay. So, Michaela starts off. Okay, I guess I can play like 3 minutes of it without getting in trouble.
To the clinic.
Oh, it's 11.
The understanding that they could do a multi-day detoxification and.
Well, in the most Canadian fashion I can muster, what the hell happened, eh?
What the hell happened, eh, Daddy?
Right, that's what people were asking online, eh? Right. What happened?
Canadians get a rap for saying
an accident is when
Jordan,
things happen at the same.
He talks about accidents happening at the same time. Okay, before he tells you about his accidents that happened at the same time, I want you, the viewer, and me, the host of this community, High Voltage, I'm going to share with you accidents, meaning accidents. An accident is when you stub your toe, okay? An accident is when you trip and fall. An accident is something that is not intentional. There's no cruel intention behind it, an accident. Unless you're P. Diddy, Oprah, the Clintons, the Obamas, you know, I don't even think Warren Buffett would have been a good man. I just think that these rich people have everything. So what do? They go and create their own problems. You know, I'm a little bit full of P&B today. I'm a little bit full of something in vinegar. And if you don't like this video and you're not interested in anything I'm going to start talking about, that's okay. You know why? There's so much YouTube to choose from nowadays. Like, I have my favorite channels, and sometimes if I can't keep up with the footage, because I'm trying to build a non-donation charity, which means elites don't run it. Our community does. Trevor and I are going to be vetting people, because every time you hit subscribe, like, and comment, you're moving the algorithm to the top. Trevor and I are gonna collaborate, thinking of a new name that might go viral and not stop. I wanna build the first YouTube charity here, where I use my Google chat how I want to revere, and I don't with the elite or surgeons or psychologists or Jordan Petersons. No. You know what? For those of you that have new YouTube channels starting up and you need to make a living in this economy, come to the hub. We support people. And 3/4 of what I earn on this channel, I might have to make it 2/3, because I do need some money to keep the channel going. I'm keeping it in a pot. I'm showing the paychecks. Well, I might not be able to do that, but I'll let you know. And then whoever needs help, you email, and I vet. And I'm trying to figure out how to get people the money without PayPal. So you'd have to trust me to give you money with an email transfer. I don't know, a PO box. I could send money orders. There's also people in my community in Beamsville, Ontario, that need help. And as I said in my video prior, I am trying to help because I did not feel supported or helped when I was in that wheelchair for a year, because a surgeon didn't say he made an error in a femur operation and broke my knee, and I had 2 holes in my knee. However, it doesn't stop me from doing ballet. And you know what? You all know me. You all know me and why I started this channel. But you know that it's a miracle that I can go on my toes, that I can balance. I'm very grateful to the ballerinas who are concerned about me. It's 11:11. This is supposed to be the universal time of the day. So, in the most Canadian way, what the heck happened, eh? Yes, what the heck happened, eh? I guess that's what people were asking online. I think he sounds like a petulant child lying. In my humble opinion, he should not be having his medical license for being taken away. But my gut feeling, it's not just because of tweets. I think they thought he was a, quote, addict. And we're going to be talking about the difference between addicts and dependency, which there's none. And I'm going to tell you my gruesome, twosome experience. But before we do, I will share mine if you share yours. Tell me about accidents that, you didn't ask for. You didn't have a plan for them because an accident is something you don't know that's coming. And there are things that in the Western world, not in Ethiopia, well, maybe in the richer parts of third world countries, there's wealth in every country. Colombia, I need to look this up, but one of the poorest countries. America has never done so well ever. And Trump is trying to make this like make America. Sorry, I like wigs, Make America great. I like marijuana too. Make America great again. America is great. And all politicians are puppets. That's why Trump has Elon and Jeff Bezos, and they all go where the money goes. Hopping down that banking road, hippity hoppity, Donald's on his way. Jordan Peterson, here we go. Listen and tell me what your thoughts are.
Same time. And I would say that's what happened. I mean, first of all,
stop it. Let's go back
January.
Here we go.
Well, in the most Canadian fashion I can muster, what the hell happened, eh?
Right, that's what people were asking online. Eh? Right. What happened? Well, an accident is when 3 or 4 or 5 unlikely things happen at the same time. And I would say that's what happened. I mean, first of all, I spent last January with you in Zurich at a hospital. I wasn't in the hospital, but I was there most of the time.
You're in the hospital a lot.
I was in the hospital a lot, yeah.
In Zurich,
I had to feed you
a lot. Why?
Make food for you.
He had to feed her. Why?
Steak.
Brought him steak. Hang on.
And you were getting some pretty invasive surgery done on your foot.
Okay. Really invasive surgery done on Michaela's foot. All right. Well, the first thing, his voice it was quite unpleasant. Do you know I wrote Jordan Peterson and a lot of heavy duty hitting podcasters because nobody in Canada will talk about what happened to my knee. I broke my femur in 2017. And for those of you that watch this channel, you know that this is getting deeper. I also want to show you the atrophy that I had in my legs, okay? This is true. Now, this was the leg that I was able to use in the wheelchair, okay? So here, I'm going to put this on the ground. All right, so watch. And then I'll talk about Jordan Peterson and his issues too, okay? And why don't all of you write down what's going on with you? How many accidents have happened to you at one time in your life? So I'm talking, they say that moving, a death in the family, a death of an animal, change of a job, divorce, loss of status, loss of money. Okay, that can all change a person. I had a femur break and a surgeon screwed it up to no end, but I'm not going to talk about that. I just want to show you about muscle mass. Okay, the reason this is a miracle is because I've got holes in my knees. Isn't that attractive? This happened when I was 53. Now, look at the difference in the muscles in my calves. So, which one looks larger to you? Right? This one. Okay? So, when doctors don't say anything when they make an error, especially when you're 46, and you want to have a child, and you were just moving out to Ottawa to find that certain someone and have a family, and I had a job set up, and this asshole decided not to say anything, and the psychiatrist in him literally scared me out of the hospital. Anyways, Jordan Peterson. I have a little bit of cognitive dissonance as well as maybe a bit of arrested development, definitely ADHD, but I always get to my point eventually. Ready?
Excellent. And then your mom and I, Tammy and I, went to Australia and New Zealand for most of February, and that was actually not too bad a trip. Mm-hmm. I felt all right, and she was feeling all right too, but we knew her surgery for what was hypothetically a relatively treatable cancer was coming up in March, so that was hanging over our heads, although we weren't overwhelmingly worried about it. And then she went and had her surgery.
Wait a second here.
We were informed 6 weeks after that, after she had recovered but was still suffering some pain, that
Wait.
the easily treatable and non-dangerous, slow-growing malignant.
All right. Okay, so I'm just going to read it. Well, in the most Canadian... Oh, you're allowed to read articles, so why can't I read this? Why? I'm going to read it. Okay. Well, in the most Canadian fashion, I can muster, what the hell happened, eh? Right. That's what people were asking online, right? Right. What happened? You know, an accident is when 3 or 4 or 5 unlikely things happen at the same time. And I would say, happened to me, first of all, I spent last January with you in Zurich. Now, mind you, this is a 4-year-old video. All right, so 4 years ago in January, what would that be? 2019? He was on benzos, he said, since 2016, right? Is that correct? 2016, he said? Okay. Yep, the hospital. I wasn't in the hospital, but I was there for most of the time. You're in the hospital a lot. I was. So, okay. Yep, at the hospital. I wasn't in the hospital, but I was there most of the time. You're in the hospital a lot. I was. So what he's saying is, yeah, I wasn't in the hospital, but you were in the hospital and I had to feed you. And then his daughter said, you brought me steak. Wow, that must be nice. A little contempt on my part there, maybe a little envious. No, I'm not envious, actually. I used to have a very interesting life. So she goes on to say, January, and you were getting some he says, you were getting some pretty invasive surgery in January, and it has to do with your foot. And then your mom and I, Tammy Peterson, was diagnosed with cancer. They did not say what type of cancer. So when I say, if you like behavioral opinions on people's behavior, my opinions on benzos and Jordan Peterson, if you like movie reviews, I watch so many movies in that wheelchair. Anyway, so he says 1 minute and 7 seconds into the conversation, Jordan Peterson says, relatively treatable cancer was coming up in March. So January, February, March. I'm guessing this is 2019 before COVID, but they didn't give dates. worried about it, and then she went and had her surgery, and then, they had her surgery, and they then we were informed 6 weeks after that she had recovered, but was still in pain. So that's interesting for somebody who studies linguistics, like Andrew Gold as an example. Easily treatable and non-dangerous, slow-growing malignancy that we were told she had was in fact something fast-growing with something near a 100% fatality rate within a year, regardless of treatment, like treating cancer, so that was deadly. We got all we were told. We were told that in 10 minutes. And so when we were just expecting, it's not a clean bill of health, at least a representation of that, of what we'd already been told. And then she went to have more invasive surgery, and hypothetically the work, but it created syrup terrible side effects. And that was the start of a whole other 6 months long nightmare of trying to deal with the surgical complications. We did eventually resolve, but not until the middle of August. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So we're talking 7 months in 2019. I'm guessing it could be 2018. I don't know. But do you notice he says but here a lot? So that's why I say linguistics. So it was easily treatable and non-dangerous, but, well, that means it wasn't treatable and it wasn't non-dangerous. So he lied. When people know that they're telling the truth and you're educated, and I'm not talking about education like going to Oxford or Yale. I'm talking about self-education, reading the library, all of our life's experience. When people say but, I don't trust them. It's usually however, even though she was given this diagnosis, we were not expecting it, and it hit the whole family absolutely terribly. And then when Michaela tries to express, he had to make himself like a good father. And when he said, you were in the hospital, I wasn't. And I was there all the time for you, Michaela. And you brought me steak. He didn't even stop and say, during that time, Michaela, even though we're conducting, he kept saying this podcast or video, almost undermining, in my opinion, her as an interviewer. Could you imagine being Michaela in her father's footsteps? Although he still keeps to go on like a petulant child, pretending he didn't know any of the side effects of benzodiazepines, and the long-lasting are easier to get off of. And they tried, what's that one method of coming off of benzos? Before we go there, just keep listening.
Trying to deal with surgical complications, which we did eventually resolve, but not until the middle of August.
So basically,
in fact, literally not until the day of our 30th wedding.
Why did he say, but not, and we literally didn't find out till our 30th anniversary? And then Michaela, this is out looking at my phone, and then Michaela says, I can't even imagine as a daughter and a husband finding out that their wife might, and there's nothing you can do and you are screwed. These people are elite. They went to visit Tammy's relatives on Vancouver Island. Do you know how expensive Vancouver? This is why my husband hates me. This is why my husband has contempt for me, because I'll get to it another time. Contempt always kills relationship, but is it contempt toward the other person? Or could it be contempt for one's self? Now, I am not standing here preaching like I am an angel, because I am not. I've lied and made mistakes, but I admit them. He had millions, and still does, millions of people that look up to him as a role model. I do not like to say the word followers. Jesus had followers, you know? Allah has followers. The Quran, there's followers, okay? Okay, I'll just let you listen, and I'll tell you why it's full of baloney.
Yeah.
So that was
He's very self-indulgent, and he's a
hair-raising
narcissist.
and stressful, to say the least. I mean, you and I have talked about that, but we seem to have a life-threatening emergency on Tammy's part for about every 3 days for about 6 months. And then I had my own problems start to develop really with any degree of severity in about April, May, something like that. I had been taking benzodiazepines since 2016.
So why, before we get into that,
Yeah.
why did you start taking benzodiazepines?
Well, in over the Christmas vacation in 2016, you and I and Julian and my son and Amy went out to Vancouver Island to visit her parents and siblings. And when we were there, you and I and Andre, your husband, ate something that didn't agree with any of us, and had a very severe reaction to that.
I'm still on board. It was
Sulfites? Okay. Let's find out what happens with sulfites. Let's ask Dr. Google. Dr. Google, could you please tell me what happens if people have an allergic reaction to sulfites? And what causes a sulfite reaction? Okay. This is from Google. Symptoms include wheezing, shortness of breath, coughing, sneezing, skin reactions. Rarely, sulfite allergies can lead to anaphylaxis. Certain foods, beverages, and medications contain sulfites. People with asthma are more likely to have reaction to sulfites, which is funny because I have asthma, and I'm not reactive to sulfites. I still use a puffer to this day. Allergies and sensitivity to sulfites. Sulfite sensitivity. Sulfites can trigger asthma attacks, allergic reactions. Symptoms include wheeziness, shortness of breath, coughing, sneezing, skin reactions. Allergies can lead to anaphylaxis or anaphylaxis. Certain foods, beverages, and why is sulfite allergy or a sulfite sensitivity? Sulfite allergies or sensitivities are conditions that most often affect people with asthma. They cause asthma attacks. Okay, when you ingest or come in contact with foods, drinks, or medications in them. So you can get a dermatitis rash, okay? Skin rashes that itch. What are sulfites? They're used as preservatives. Okay, this means they prevent food, beverages, and medications from spoiling, going bad. People don't know what spoiling means. Oh my God. They're probably thinking of spoiling as in spoiling a child. Which always made me wonder, why does Bill Maher not like children or the church? Do you think something happened to him with a priest, maybe? It's my opinion. They're often used to slow browning and discoloration caused by bacterial growth in foods and drinks. Winemakers have used sulfites for centuries to preserve the color and flavor of wines. Sulfites also occur naturally in some foods and beverages. Now, my mother has a sulfite reaction, and she used to have psoriasis. And psoriasis is actually an autoimmune deficiency, just like osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. It's actually in the same family, whereas psoriasis, your skin cells are growing at a rapid pace. Yeah. Now, 4 to 5% of people with asthma have some sort of sulfite sensitivity. Well, he didn't talk about tachycardia or swelling or swallowing. He talked about, achieve perfect thighs. Shop now at benxo. Advertisements get me distracted. Sulfur dioxide gas. Okay. IgE mediated reactions. IgEs are antibodies or proteins that recognize harmful substances. Okay, so they're talking about how antibiotics work. All right, does Jordan Peterson have asthma? Does Jordan Peterson have asthma? Jordan Peterson is a psychologist who has been the subject of professional complaints in a court case. Oh, no. The College of Psychologists of Ontario, CPO, has ordered Peterson to undergo professional coaching and reviewed his so-called media posts. The CPO found that Peterson's online comments were unprofessional, degrading, and posed a risk to the public. Are you kidding me? Well, maybe I shouldn't go too hard on him, but okay, benzodiazepines. Let's just keep going on with it. Actually, before we go into that, let me tell you what I researched. I write everything out. I'm old school. Okay, so I needed to ask the right questions with curiosity, which totally reminds me of Dan Rather's. If you ever want to see a movie, in reference to when mainstream media died and lies were just being told upon told, was when they got rid of Dan Rather's and Mary Marples from 60 Minutes because of a journalistic piece about George W. Bush, not Herbert, but George. Oh, what is it called when you flee from the draft? Well, yes, so he dodged the draft. And what the Army did was George W. Bush and all of the other political kids at the time, they went into aircraft aviation. So they didn't have to get hurt. The Americans just sent out all of people that weren't white to go take care of Vietnam. And, what a bunch of War makes money. Anyways, Dan Rather said that people used to want the truth in the news. Okay? Mary Maples was fired. I'm telling you. You see, people think, oh, mainstream media doesn't report it. Well, of course they don't. Who do you think's running the show? Rupert Murdoch? For God's sakes. He knew Ghislaine Maxwell's father. I don't even think she's in jail. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein is passed either. What paper puts out a picture of Jeffrey Epstein apparently after he's passed away, and they're showing his face with oxygen? Oh, that was to prove he was gone. He's in Israel somewhere. Anyways, okay, Jordan Peterson. Oh, and you know what I love about acting and movies is people who look at it like a job and nothing more, like Anthony Hopkins. All right, so the start of society accepting sorry. So, in 1955, Leo Sternbach serendipitously identified the first benzodiazepine, chlorodenzaperoxide, which they called Librium. In 1960, Hoffman LaRoche, marked as the Librium King, which was sort of confused me because Arthur Sackler also created barbiturates for Librium for the stressed out housewife, especially those that weren't bra burners. Anyway, medical professionals felt congruent and equally enthusiastic about this drug. 15 years for research. It took 15 years for researchers to discover that benzodiazepines and barbiturates, they basically affect the gamma aminobutyrc acid as a mechanism of action. In the 1980s, there was new concern about abuse and dependence. 1980s, there was concern about use and dependence. So today I wrote down, I'm doing an improv video. Check out the community page. Okay? So again, keep that date in mind. In 1980, there were concerns. All right. Now, Jordan Peterson. This is my episode 2 of some serious topics. Okay. All right. He obtained a bachelor's degree in political science, University of Alberta, a PhD in clinical psychology from McGill University. This is all Canadian, folks. He attended McGill from 1985 to 1991. When was the first research put out that benzodiazepine and barbiturates and zopicone were terrible for you? It was the 1980s, but he didn't have a clue. Well, I didn't know. Sure you didn't. All right. Also, a PhD in clinical psychology from McGill, and he went to McGill from 1985 to 1991. He went to the University of Alberta from 1984 to 1982. He also went to Northwestern Polytech in Grand Prairie, Alberta, which would not even be close to the education that the British Columbia Institute, the British Columbia Institute of Technology, it's a polytechnical institute as well, and that's where I took human resources. And oh my God, it was brain boot camp. I had a nervous breakdown for real. So I was looking up the courses of this Polytechnical Institute, and this is the language on today's site that they use. They produce confident, knowledgeable, and skillful professionals. Well, what the fuck does that mean? Confident, knowledgeable, and skillful professionals. They spark and empower people. What the fuck does that mean? I got that source from www.polytech.ca. And from 1993 to 1998, from 1998 to 2021, he worked at the University of Toronto after he retired. So, all right, this has been a really long episode. I will be back with episode 2 today. And when they're talking about leadership skills and creating powerful professionals, like what the fuck does that mean? Even the cult Jenny Craig had a better idea of teaching that than the Alberta Prairie Poly Institute, in my opinion. Jordan Peterson in Russia. Well, wait till you find out what I found in researching this Russian. He was so addicted to these things. It's not funny. What kills me is that people believed it. I watched this amazing, articulate nursing doctor's assistant agree with everything he said. Police. I'll tell you why he's full of crap. That's the only way I can state it. And I have some dancing to go do. We should be dancing, dance. Now, benzodiazepine and alcohol withdrawal are two of the most dangerous substances to come off of. Benzodiazepines actually kill your GABA receptors and your nerve endings, and it does take a year or so for them to come back. Now, when he was talking about the torture he went through with benzodiazepines, coming off of them for a week, to later find that that was a really bad idea. You think? Like he didn't know? That's what drove me crazy. He was being a toddler and he was lying, and his daughter knew he was lying. He wouldn't give his daughter any chance to talk. And she even said in the video that he was so difficult to be around because he was so miserable, because he's a narcissistic, ranting toddler. And you see what happens to people in 5 accidents. His wife is terrible. That's terrible. His daughter, she had to take Oxycontin because of her foot. I haven't heard of anybody prescribing Oxycontin to anybody in Canada. This must have been in the States. Listen, you know what? If you're interested in benzodiazepines, how to come off of them safely, there are different schools of thought. They are not. Benzodiazepines should never be prescribed to sleep, ever. That's not what they're for. I take clonazepam, and that's for people who have generalized anxiety disorder, which basically means you've been traumatized the hell out of your life, or your life has traumatized the hell out of you. That's why I can still smile after losing everything and having 8 accidents happen in a row. I lost my mind. I did. And that's why he said, that's why I didn't have to take the Zopicone, because, well, they were working. But then apparently, if you take too much, I had a very rare, no, my friend, listen to what he doesn't say. I will be back either today or tomorrow for episode 2 of Jordan Peterson and the benzodiazepine withdrawal. And I have some facts that are going to blow your mind. Blow your mind? They're going to blow your mind. Thank you for watching. If you decide to subscribe, I implore you, I beg of you, I'll show you. I'm never mentioning it again either. I ain't ever going to mention it again. This is so... Lasha Rajenko. Lasha Rajenko. This is embarrassing. Well, all right. This is my channel. I'm the host, and everybody else, they're the bosses. I just host. No. We work together as a team. It's a non-donation charity. And I do agree with Jordan Peterson and a lot of other people that this society, there are 40% of men in the next 15 years that are going to be asexual, unsuccessful, because of what has been done to man. Men have been demasculized because of women. Sorry, ladies. Anyways, this is high voltage, and there's 780 participants. And as you can see, there's a community there, a community page. I also have a channel, and it's called L&L Soul Sisters. I don't even think you can find it without my name. Oh, here it is. Yeah. This is L&L Soul Sisters. It's actually a nice channel, but everything on this channel and on this channel are all on high voltage. I have 2,800 videos, and I can guarantee you 2,000 of them are Sophie Ann. Okay, I have to run. Thank you for the one person who took the time to like or watch. Again, if you've liked any of the footage, if you liked anything of what you saw, I know how hard it is to, join a YouTube channel. You have to think about what you're joining. But on the other hand, does it hurt to join? Like, really, does it? I don't think so. You know why? Because times are rough now, and I personally support anybody that I come across that has a YouTube channel. Even if it doesn't interest me remotely, when I can spot talent 100 miles away. I knew Brittany from the Royal News Network. I wrote this in one of her comments about a year ago. I said, one day you're going to be on with Dan Wooden. Well, she is. I told Cheer Denise, you are going to get unbelievably popular. She will be on with Piers Morgan. You wait. Cheer Denise. Okay. Thank you for listening. And episode 2 will be up later or tomorrow with the real nitty gritty about benzodiazepines. This was my ramble. Next video, I'm diving straight in. I think I did a pretty good job today. For those of you that know me, and for those of you that don't, I want to thank you for giving me the best. Oh, you know what? I love to sing, by the way. if anybody cares, which I doubt it. What kind of fucker is this? I'm going to sing some Amy Winehouse tonight. All right. Goodbye. Trevor, if you want to edit this video, be my guest. And as you could tell, I'm a very good hair cutter. I is. Just have to keep it straight. Oh, okay. I've got some dancing to do now.